Hello everyone, how are you doing? If you're new here, my name is Afton. Thank you for joining me today and welcome back if this is not your first time here. Today we are going to do a tarot tag by Angel over at Feeding My Soul 1212. This one is pretty new. It's only been out for about a week, I want to say. And I will link Angel's initial video down below. I've seen a ton of VRs to this so far, and they're all really cool. Highly recommend you take a look if you haven't already. And I wanted to jump on the train because there are some really neat questions in here that I definitely had to think about. It's not necessarily your just run-of-the-mill questions, tarot questions. So this is hashtag Show Us Your Decks by Angel. So we'll get started. Prompt number 1, a deck you want to use, but for whatever reason has not seen any time on your reading space or on your reading desk. So this one is a fairly new deck to me. I've had it maybe for a month, maybe not quite 2 months. This is the Managerie Tarot. This is by our very own Chanel over at Chanel Days. And this is a make playing cards deck. So there are a few cards that come with this, with keywords and explanations. And these are the backs. They're beautiful. It's on a linen cardstock. And these are the cards. So this is obviously a collage deck. There are multiple lovers cards. I believe there's 2. If not, there might actually be 3. So like I said, I've only had this for a little while. I just happened to find out about this deck directly from Chanel's channel. She made a video mentioning this. And there's another one of the lovers cards. And she was literally about to put it up on Make Playing Cards, and I was looking at making an order right around that same time. And of course, anytime I order decks, there's another one of the lovers cards, so there are 3. Anytime I order decks, I try to make sure that I am getting everything that I want from that particular seller, just because of shipping costs, obviously. You know, I don't think shipping is cheap for anybody these days. But oftentimes when I do that, I'll end up ordering multiple decks. And because of that, I end up getting decks, like multiple decks at the same time coming in, right? And so I find when I do that, that at least 1 or 2 of the decks that I order don't end up getting used right off the bat. So this one has been sitting and I have not used it. I've flipped through it. Obviously, I've done a few shuffles here because we're not in order. But yeah, just have not had a chance to use it yet. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's really neat. I don't know why I've been having a moment with collage decks lately. I just think they're really neat. I normally don't really feel drawn to them. But for whatever reason, the last few months, I've been really enjoying them. So yeah. This is the Managerie Tarot by Chanel Days, available on Make Playing Cards. And if I remember, I will put a link for you down in the description box below. So that's prompt number 1. Prompt number 2, show a deck that is the 12th from the right on your storage shelf. So I have a like full height bookshelf that I use. It's upstairs in one of my spare bedrooms. And it has obviously multiple shelves on it. So I went from the top shelf I chose, and going from the right, my top shelf on the bookshelf is more of my seasonal decks. So it has like my kind of winter Christmassy themed decks. It also has my Lenormand decks because I have a couple of those. And then it has more my like Halloween Samhain decks. So the deck that was 12th from the right on that top shelf was my Yokai Tarot, obviously coming from my more like Samhain, you know, Halloween-y, creepy monsters section. So that's the little white book there. It's pretty basic. It really does not tell you anything other than the name of the yokai. And yeah, it doesn't, people have complained, and I would agree, it doesn't give you really a whole lot of information as to why that particular yokai is chosen for that particular card. If you're interested in learning more about that, I would highly suggest you go to Sylvia's channel that I can't think of her name. I will also link it below, though, which is ridiculous. I watched one of her videos this morning. But she did a whole full in-depth on at least some of these cards and some of the yokai. So that was kind of cool. I watched most of that video, I believe. I'm not sure if she's done a follow-up on the rest, but I believe she did at least the major arcana. Fairlight Tarot, there you go. So this was a deck that everybody was talking about, everybody still talks about. I feel like I remember seeing it when it was on Kickstarter. It did not grab my attention. Like, I thought it was interesting, but I really, you know, I don't know anything about yokai. And then, of course, once everybody started talking about it after the fact, when it was out of print, then the FOMO kicked in, of course. And then the creator did kind of like a limited release on her website, maybe a little over a year ago, and put some, you know, just randomly would put decks up on her website for people to purchase. And if it happened to be there when you looked, then great. But if not, you still missed out. I happened to grab one of those decks. I just literally one day went on, it was there, so I grabbed it at, you know, a decent price. Now I think these ones are going for like crazy ridiculous. This is not one that I use, as you probably guessed, but you know, I have it. It's honestly probably one that I will just hang on to for a little while and use it to try and get like one of my own unicorn decks down the road in a trade potentially. So yeah, that is the Yokai Tarot by Boogle Plague. Prompt number 3, a deck that you are contemplating rehoming. Okay, so this one is the Cult of Vimar Tarot. This is a deck I am considering rehoming, mainly because I did not actually purchase it for myself in the first place. When I did buy it, this was a couple years ago, I had purchased it for my then boyfriend, and then we broke up fairly soon afterwards. So I ended up, you know, obviously did not give it to him, so I just kind of hung on to it. And I mean, it's definitely interesting. It's one, again, that I would bring out more towards the Halloween time of year. Those are the kind of the vibes that it gives me. It is a very nice quality. It's got like these wicked green edges on it. It is very cool. The guidebook is pretty decent. It does go into a decent amount of depth of what the cards are depicting, why they chose this. But the idea behind this deck, let's see if I can find a good way to describe this. So this is like a collage deck that is about the years, here we go, years between 1919 and 1933 in Berlin. And it's kind of revolving around like Bertolt Brecht, like that whole German like cinema, that whole deal. I don't really know a whole lot about it. Like, I've seen a few films from that time, like Metropolis, that kind of thing. But, you know, as I can barely even tell you really what the deck is about, clearly it's not something that interests me a whole lot. So this is one of the reasons why I'm probably going to rehome it. I actually think I have had it up. I've rehomed a few decks relatively recently, and I think this was on my list to get rid of, but nobody has bit as of yet. So, but it is probably one that I will be, you know, continue to list to get rid of. I'm kind of at the point where I'm just trying to really pare down my collection. And when I say pare down, I just mean more like curate the decks that I really like and really want to have in my collection. And this one just does not really fit the bill, as well done as it is. There are a couple extra cards in this as well. So yeah, that is the Cult of Vimar Tarot. I believe this is still available. It is by, who is it by? Rabbit's Moon Tarot. So this was off of Etsy. All right. Next prompt. A deck that you don't store in its original box, and why? So this was one of the prompts that I had to think about and decide, okay, how am I going to do this? Because I keep the majority of my decks in bags and not their original boxes. So I decided that I am going to do a little bit of a flip, and I'm going to show you a deck that I do actually store in its original box because, you know, that's the way I'm rolling here. So the deck that I chose for this is one of my Baba Studios decks. So this is the Fantastic Managerie Tarot, and this is one of their lovely clamshell boxes. So I do have a fair number of Baba Studios decks. I do have a couple of videos actually completely dedicated to my Baba Studios collection. I have, I think, gotten one more since I made that video. I've been interested mostly in getting some of the earlier editions, and specifically the ones that come in these types of boxes because I think they're just lovely. So like this one, I have the Mythical Creatures, I have the Bohemian Gothic 3rd edition, and I have the Tarot of Prague 3rd edition. So they all come in this type of box, and I have left all of those ones in these boxes as opposed to making bags for them. And it's just because I think they're lovely. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And to be honest, I feel like I don't, other than the Tarot of Prague, I don't use those particular editions a whole lot. So they're, you know, I'm happy to have them sitting in their beautiful boxes on my shelf so that I can see them. And they don't get a whole ton of wear from, you know, opening the boxes because I'm not using them a ton. This one in particular, I don't use a lot. I used it actually quite a bit when I first got it. Oh, look, I had actually put this one in order. Probably from when I did my Baba Studios video. So this deck, like I said, I don't use it a ton. Used it a lot when I first got it, and it actually pleasantly surprised me. It was more of one of those, I was getting it as a collector's item, not thinking I was going to use it a ton. And then I started using it when I got it, and I actually really liked it. And now I'm thinking about it, I should really pull this one back off my shelf because it's beautiful. This is one of their earlier types of cold foil stamping, so it's not so overwhelming, I find. And you can kind of see it there in the light. And yeah, it's just really pretty. This one is definitely more of like almost like an inner child kind of, but at the same time, I do find it almost more mature. I don't know. But anyway, so this is one that I store in its original box. So that's the Fantastic Managerie Tarot. Apologies, it is out of print. But yeah, I have seen a few of these pop up online though, every once in a while. So, okay. Prompt number 5, a deck with more or less than 78 cards. I think Angel had said, you know, preferably a deck that has more, but if you don't have more, a deck that has more than 78 cards than one that has less. So the deck that I chose for this, sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of water here, is the Terra Volatile. That is not that one. It's this one. So this is the box, but I actually keep my main deck in this bag here. And what is special about this deck is that it actually comes with an extra suit. The suit of vessels, which is not to be confused with the suit of cups. So this is the main deck. And then you get all of these other cards. Now there is also an expansion pack as well that is separate from the deck itself. There's Chaos, which is one of the expansions, I believe, for the Fool card. There's a Yes card. There's a No card. There's a You're Asking the Wrong Questions. These are the vessels. So as you can see, they're not in my main deck. I have removed them on purpose because I just don't really have the brain power to study, you know, more like nuances of a deck right now. But there are also alternate cards for the Fool. I have the female Fool in mind currently. But like, look at how many cards this is. Like, this is almost the size of a tarot deck in itself. So this is the extra vessel suit plus the expansion. Like, this is crazy. Like, look at this. Like, they're not the same, but like, they're pretty darn close to being a completely, like, an additional deck. So that is my deck with significantly more than 78 cards. I think that this is so cool. I love expansion packs. I'm not so much one who cares for an Oracle expansion pack, like when a deck has extra Oracle cards in it, because I typically don't use those. I prefer the actual structure of the tarot. But I love it when there's an expansion pack that has alternate cards for the tarot cards, because it really just lets you personalize your deck. And I think it's also fun to then go back a little while later, put your original deck together, and then swap out cards and see if you change the ones that you actually want to use. It's really cool. So yeah, so that is the Terra Volatile. I don't think this is available right at this exact moment, but I do believe a new printing is happening or will be available fairly soon. They did do a pre-order for like the expansion pack and a limited edition relatively recently, but they had a ton of just delays, and it just was not very good. Well, on my end, it was fine. I didn't care, but I know they were very frustrated with how that whole print run went. So, which I feel bad for people who it really affected, but anyway. Okay, prompt number 6, a deck with a cloud on the box. Again, a prompt about deck boxes, which I don't really keep. I mean, I keep them, but I stick them in a tub out of the way. So I had to think about this, and the one that I landed on is the Arcane Warrior Tarot. Arcane Warrior. Oh my goodness, guys. Arcane Warrior Tarot. So this is by Levi Smits. He goes by Masculine Intuition Tarot, I believe, on YouTube. And this is obviously a Divine Masculine deck. I don't use this one a whole lot, as you can see. So I was taking these as to be clouds on the cover is what we're going for here. So I don't use this one a whole lot, and it's not because of the deck itself. It's really more the like finish and the size of the deck itself. I find it a little bit more difficult to work with. We've even got clouds in the guidebook. But I do really like having a devoted like Divine Masculine deck or two in my collection. So these are the backs. It's got that beautiful matte gold gilding on it, or edging. And what I was really drawn to about this deck when I saw the Kickstarter was that they have these little phrases on the cards in addition to the actual title. So that was kind of the main reason I backed this. So they are a rose petal finish, and you can see it's quite a thick, chunky deck. I kind of liken the production quality to the Danielle Noel decks, like the Moonchild Tarot, if you're familiar with that, to give you an idea. And because of the size of the cards, the thickness of the cards, as well as this rose petal, I find it difficult to work with. It's just hard for me to shuffle. They stick. So that's the main reason that I don't use this so much. But it's not one that I really want to get rid of. I think it's beautiful. And like I said, I just really like having that Divine Masculine energy in my collection. And they're ready for me to use it if I so choose to, even if I'm not doing that currently. The minors, as you can see, are fairly pippish. I do really like the color coordination, how we've got the green down here for the discs, which is the pentacles, the blue for the cups. That is a lovely card right there. I just think his art style is really cool. 8 of Wands, and then more of a white tone for the swords. So yeah, that is the Arcane Warrior Tarot by Levi Smits. I believe this is still available. I'll be honest, I haven't thought to check if it is, but I would hope so, because I think it's always great to have Divine Masculine decks on the market and available. He did put out another Oracle quite fairly recently, like did a Kickstarter for it. It was more photographic, so that one I wasn't interested in just based on the photographic aspect of it, but it did look really neat as well. Okay, prompt number 7, a deck that you have never shown on your channel. So I had to think about this because I'm sure there are decks that I have not shown on my channel, but the one that I landed on is relatively recent acquisition. Not so much. It hasn't been long since I actually received it, but I've had it on pre-order for, I want to say, at least a year. So the deck is the Illuminated Deck of Holy Souls. So this is by Lindsay D. Williams. She is the creator of the Desert Illuminations Tarot. I thought this bag was perfect. I happen to have this in my stash of fabric, and I was like, yep, that is the one, because look at how perfect that is. This stained glass is just amazing. So this is an Oracle deck, and you're like, Afton, you never use Oracle decks. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is one I couldn't really pass up, mostly because I love her art style. I love her Desert Illuminations Tarot a lot. And I've kind of mentioned this before. The last little while, I've really been kind of feeling a pull towards like the Christian, not necessarily Christian specifically, but like saints, ascended masters, that some of them actually happen to fit into the Christian religion. So what's neat about this deck is that they have the saint, but then they also directly have on the card a little message like from the saint, or a like sentence or phrase, keywords, that kind of a thing. And yeah, so I have not really used this one either. This is one I think more is maybe like choosing, like pulling a card and working with that deity for like a week to a month kind of a thing. And I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. Prompt number 8, a deck with another animal besides a lion in the strength card. So I think I have I was like, yeah, definitely. I've got decks that have a different animal than a lion. And then when I tried to think of one, I was like, And then I looked and I was like, oh, well, you know what? It's definitely not going to have a lion. Is this one. This is the Smoke, Ash, and Empress Tarot by 3 Trees Tarot. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck. This is a first edition, I do believe. I just have to say I was so happy when I found this material. It is so cool. It's got like a metallic coppery color. So, a Smoke, Ash, and Embers. I think my little certificate of authenticity. So there is our strength card right there on top. I actually prepared and found it for us beforehand. So obviously being a dragon deck, I was like, there's going to be a dragon in this rather than a lion. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's not a lion. And I was right. It's a mouse, which is almost like giving us nods to their Heartwood Tarot, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, I love the expression on this dragon's face. It's almost like he's more scared of the mouse than the mouse is of him. I love this deck. It's not one, again, that I use like super often. It's not one that's like really regular in my rotation. It's definitely a certain mood. Excuse me, just really dry today. But yeah, I love the way that these dragons are depicted. They're just gorgeous. There is a new edition of this coming out with some changes. So with these original ones, this is the back, and obviously they're not reversible. And I think that was something that a lot of people requested them to change. So they finally did. And the new editions will have a more simplified reversible back design. I have no intention of getting a new edition. I really like the font that they've used here. They've slightly changed the font to match Oak Ash and Thorn. And I looked at it and I'm not really a fan. And I just, yeah. And I mean, I just don't need another edition because like this one is fantastic. I love it. So I don't read reversals. So the back design really was not a deal breaker for me. So yeah, so that is my deck with another animal besides the Lion and Strength card. So that's Smoke, Ash, and Embers by Three Trees Tarot. I think this original edition is still available on the website, even though they are coming out with a new edition. But I would imagine that they'll sell it out eventually and will not be available. So if you want this particular back design, I would recommend getting that sooner rather than later. Okay, prompt number 9. There is a total of 15 prompts on this. So we're getting there, just over halfway. Prompt number 9, a deck that comes in a box inside another box. This is such like a particular question. I thought it was kind of hilarious. Like, how did she even come up with some of these? This, I had a bit of trouble. And I think I have all of one deck that came in a box inside of another box that I can remember. And that is Danielle Noel's Dreamgate Oracle. So this is a mass market deck. It is available. And so it comes in this flip lid box. There's a nice size guidebook. And then there is this. It's in a tuck box. And I remember getting this and I was like, what the heck is going on with this? Like, we don't need this, but whatever. I guess the idea is that it's got this insert, and sometimes these can like get destroyed and your cards go all over the place. So they added the extra tuck box. So let's see if I can get this. Oh, I actually got it open. So again, I've had this deck for a while, pretty much since it came out. I got it for a really decent price on Amazon. Have I used it? No, it looks like not, because it's still in alphabetical order. So we know me and Oracle cards, guys. So yeah, don't use them. Like, I always have really good intentions. I'm always looking for that Oracle deck. I'm like, oh yeah, that's beautiful. I'm definitely going to use that. Or like looking for the one that's actually going to make me use Oracle decks more regularly. And it just never ends up happening. These are beautiful. I love Danielle Noel's artwork. It's stunning. There are some really beautiful images. I mean, they're all beautiful images. I just don't ever really think to pull it out. But I do really like that she's got the main keyword here, but then she also has some additional keywords. That is really fantastic. That image is just absolutely beautiful. I've actually looked at her website and like seen some of her prints that she has available, and I've been really tempted to purchase one. This is one she has available, as is this one, I believe. There's one that I think it's called like, it's from her Ocean Dreams, and it's like light codes, I want to say, that is just absolutely stunning, and it just speaks to me. And I would really love that one, but I don't think she has that one as like an actual print. I suppose, you know, the nice thing about having people, like they're on social media, all these creators, right? I think it's the kind of the coolest thing is that you can actually interact with these people who have made these things that you have in your home. So I guess you could always like message her and be like, hey, would you consider putting this image up like as a print for purchase? Because it just really speaks to me. This one's also really beautiful. So yeah, this is a deck that comes in a box inside of another box. And are we gonna do it? Yeah, I'm gonna try and put this all back together right now. Also clearly one I have intentions always of, you know, making a bag, and probably I should just go ahead, bite the bullet and make a bag for this, because that would probably actually contribute to me seeing it on my shelf and actually maybe pulling it down once in a while to use it. It has not happened yet. Okay, number 10, a deck that would not appear in a top 10 favorites video. Okay, so obviously with this prompt, you want to be careful and say, it's nothing against the deck. I still really like this deck. It's just not one of the ones that's like, for whatever reason, in my top 10, and that's okay. So the deck that I chose for this is this one. So this is the Rosa Obscura Tarot. So this is by the same creator of the Avissomnia Tarot, it's Orla Bird. She is in Croatia, I do believe. And first of all, I just love this design on the box. So it's a 2-piece box, super easy to open. There's a little guidebook here. And these are the cards. There were a couple extra cards from the Avissomnia Tarot. I just kept it in there. So this one is more of like a plant-based and somewhat like anatomy almost deck. And they're absolutely beautiful. I will say that the images that she showed on her Instagram, as opposed to the images that actually, like the coloring of the images, I believe her printer, and I've noticed this in the like second and third editions of the Avissomnia Tarot as well, the cards are a lot darker. I don't think these were actually like colors, necessarily exact colors that were intended. And the main reason I noted this is because when I look at the backs, oh, I've got a nice kind of indent there. I don't know if you can tell, this part, it's quite yellow, and I was not expecting it to be that yellow. And also the blue on the back, I was definitely expecting the blue to be more along the lines of this. So that, to be honest, was somewhat disappointing when I got the actual product from like pre-ordering it. And that is one of the reasons I would say is why this would not ever be in one of my top 10 deck videos. But the design, like the images themselves are absolutely beautiful. Like her artwork is really pretty. And yeah, the other thing I would say is that this is also printed on art paper. So it does not, as far as I'm aware, art paper doesn't have a core. And she has also switched the finish from doing matte lamination, which is what she used in the initial printings of the Avissomnia Tarot, to doing, I believe, like a UV matte coating. So like a liquid coating. And I find that the cards just don't seem as strong. Like don't feel like they're going to last as long. They feel like they're going to bow. They don't feel like they're going to hold their shape. And so for me, that's kind of I don't know, it makes me kind of scared to use it, just, you know, in case I accidentally like bend one, or yeah. So that's probably why this would not be in one of my top 10 favorites. But the imagery itself is very cool. If she does another edition of this eventually, I would hope that she goes back to the lamination. But I mean, if she's happy with it, then that's cool, right? It's always what the artist wants. I've said that before. It's their baby. So I do really like the different colors, though, that she's used. As much as I wish they were just slightly, there's just slightly too much yellow tone in these, I think, is what my issue is. I prefer going more towards like a cool, like gray undertone almost, but that's just my preference. But they are very cool. It's a very earth-centered deck. So that's the Rosa Obscura by Orla Bird. Okay. We're going to flip my prompt page over here. Prompt 11, a deck that you associate with the color green. I've got a couple of these. And the one that I ended up landing on that I'm going to show you guys is my Tarot of the Witch's Garden, because I love this deck and I also love this bag. So obviously garden, green. I mean, you look at the backs first thing and you're like, oh yeah, totally green. Green all the way here. Oh, these are like falling all over the place in here. The one thing that I will say about the Llewellyn is just because the book is so big, I have to make these giant bags, but then I have to like feel like I have to cut the deck in half in order to fit them in the bag so that they're not like, really chunky in the bag. But anyway, so I have edged mine in this really beautiful colored green. Those are the backs. Apologies, this is a more shiny deck, but this is just a lovely deck, and it's one that I was not expecting to love as much as I do. I know, obviously, like this is the sword suit. There's no green really to be found. It's that blue, but overall, I would say when I think of this deck, I think green. And it's just beautiful. I mean, that Magician, this is what's on the cover of the box, I do believe. I had to contact Llewellyn because I did initially get one of the ones that had the misprint on it. 2 of the numbers on the cards were reversed, and they were fantastic. Sent me like via courier, I think, a completely new deck. So that was really lovely to, have that customer service was just like above and beyond. Yeah, so I really love this deck. I love how it shuffles. I love that the Llewellyn decks are slightly smaller. They have a really nice shuffle. This linen, I think they've slightly changed from this linen again. It's still like a lot of their newer decks are still linen. I think it's just a slightly different type of linen. But yeah, so that is my green deck, the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. We're going to deal with putting that back later. All right. Prompt number 12, a secondhand, pre-loved or thrifted or pre-owned deck. This is another deck that I have not shown on my channel. I wouldn't say it's new to me, but this is the Mosquite Tarot. This is one that has been kind of on my list was a unicorn deck for a few years. I want to say I first saw it on maybe Dawn Michelle's tarot tube channel. I was like, oh, that's really pretty. I really like that. But it wasn't ever really a priority. And then there were a few that popped up on some Facebook like marketplace pages, and one was like listed relatively decently. So I snapped it up. I do have it in a Peggy bag. Because the box was like, it just comes in a tuck box, and the box is kind of beat up. So I saw this one, Peggy bag, on her Etsy shop, and I grabbed it because I was like, that's going to be perfect for it. So this is it's a pocket size deck, really teeny tiny, and it's super pretty, and it's just very soft and gentle. Some of the court cards are renamed as well, but I just really love the simplicity of it. It's, yeah, like I said, just very gentle and sweet, and yeah, there's not a whole lot for me to say. It's really pretty, and I love the colors. I'm like a sage green girly. That's like one of my favorite colors currently. Yeah. And it's funny too, now that I've got it, I haven't used it a ton. And I was actually thinking about rehoming it again. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm ready to let that go. It's funny because I went through kind of a phase where I was like, yes, give me all of like the mini decks all of the pocket-sized decks, because I do sometimes have trouble with full-size decks, especially if they're on a thicker cardstock, so it's a thick deck. I do have trouble shuffling them sometimes, and so I went through a phase where I was like, yes, I just want all like the smaller decks. And then I kind of outgrew that, and I'm like, no, you know what? I can actually handle like a standard size tarot pretty okay. And so I do find that I now do prefer, if I can get a standard size versus the mini, I'm usually going to go for the standard size. And even for like traveling purposes, I'm still, because I'm not taking the actual boxes with me because I put so many of my decks in bags, I don't care about having a smaller like travel size deck to travel with. I'll still take a regular size tarot with me. The guidebook is beautiful. They've got some keywords here, but also like a full poem basically for every card, which I think is fantastic. So really neat. So that is the Mosquite Tarot, which was a secondhand deck that I found on Facebook Marketplace. All right, prompt 13, a deck with the most used guidebook. So I don't find that I use guidebooks super often. I am definitely not the type of person who, when I get a new deck, I'm not going to actually go and read through the entire guidebook. I know some people do, like read it cover to cover, which is great for them. I don't do that. I don't want to be pulled away from my romance novels in order to spend time to do that. But if there is one deck that I will consistently use the guidebook for when I do use it, it's the Gentle Tarot. So this is the full-size guidebook that is purchased separately. This is currently out of print, but Mari is doing a Kickstarter actually quite soon. I want to say within the next month or so, to reprint this. And I believe she's, look, from the pictures, it looks like she's like changed the cover design, probably changed the, maybe the materials, like, because this is more of like a soft cover. And I think you can kind of see here, I haven't used it a whole ton because I have the first edition with the smaller guidebook as well. But this with the gold gilding on it, it does wear, so, which is unfortunate. So I'm assuming that's probably one of the things that she's going to be correcting. But like these end pages, like it has the gold inlay, like it's just stunning, first of all. And we've got a full page picture, and then like there's like three pages for each card. Like it's crazy how much information is in here. She also has like got these great symbols up in the corner so that you know where you're opening to. But this guidebook, like her writing is just so beautiful. It's just stunning. Yeah, like, what else do I say? It's beautiful. So if you have this deck, but you don't have the guidebook, I highly recommend it because there's so many cards. Like, yes, it follows the tarot structure, but she always has something so insightful to say about every single card. Yeah, like this Four of Cups, like, I feel like I pull this card like all the time when I use this deck. It's one that comes up all the time. Like I should almost have this entry memorized by now. Yeah, it's just so good. Two of Wands. Yeah. So anyway, so when I use this particular deck, I will always have this guidebook out. Yeah, what else can I say? It's just good. So yeah, if you don't have it, look into it. Look for the Kickstarter here coming up fairly soon. All right, what are we on? Prompt number 14. We're getting there. A deck with water on the box. Another box prompt. And I was like, what in the heck? So this one was actually fairly straightforward. I'm going to show you another Danielle Noel deck because I was like, well, I know this one has water on it. This is actually a deck that I mentioned previously. So it's the Ocean Dreams Oracle by Danielle Noel. Beautiful box. This is one, I'm not really sure. Sometimes when I make bags for things, I will take the cards out and like make the bag for that size, like of the cards without. But for whatever reason, with this one, I made it with the box still. So I will probably actually remake the bag at some point so that it's actually smaller, a little bit more compact. I love how the deck, the box opens up all the way. But yeah, as you can see, we've got water. We're all about the water. This is a stunning deck. It's beautiful. I believe she's doing a reprint of this right away here as well. It might even actually be on pre-order already. I love the backs. Not a fan of the rose petal, but you know, I mean, it is definitely like a tactile experience. Yeah, the cards are amazing. Love that. I mean, it's just all water. So we got water everywhere. It's on the box, it's on the backs, it's on the fronts. Let's see if we actually find the card that I was talking about. Love that card. It's like light codes. I will say some of this imagery that in this particular deck, I believe she did repeat some of it in the, what was it, Dreamgate Oracle that we looked at earlier. So yeah, if it's something like that that bothers you, where the images are going to be repeated, I don't use these decks often enough, honestly, for it to really bother me. But if you are someone who is using those decks quite recently, and you know, start to then associate certain keywords with you know, with one deck, and then you see that image with it in the other deck, and you're like, well, that's not right. That, you know, maybe could be a problem. Are we gonna find it? It's probably at the end. Oh, there it is. Temple of Light. I just absolutely love this card. It's my favorite card in the whole deck. So yeah, I don't know what it is. It just speaks to me. So anyway, that is a deck with water on the box. So that's Danielle Noel's Ocean Dreams Oracle. Put all this away. Okay. And the very last prompt, number 15, a deck with your most favorite card ever and why. So, I mean, this is such a cruel, a cruel prompt. It's because like, this is like asking you to choose which is your favorite child or like your favorite pet or like, yeah. So I'm cheating a little bit. I actually grabbed 2 decks because there were 2 cards that I actually thought of. So the first one, this is the Somnia Tarot, and specifically the card that actually made me get this deck was the Star card. I just think this is absolutely stunning. It's just gorgeous. And typically, honestly, like the Star card is not one that I look for. I look more for like the moon if I'm gonna look for a card in a deck. It's not like it has to be this way or I can't get the deck. I'm pretty impartial to the Star card, but I kept seeing this image pop up and I'm like, what is that? Like, I love that image. What is that from? And then I realized it was the Somnia Tarot every time. And I'm like, oh, but I don't want to get that deck. I finally broke down and got it because again, it was one of those things where, you know, I kept seeing the deck. I was like, no, that's not for me. I don't like it. It creeps me out. And then all of a sudden I was seeing it and I was like, oh, like maybe that's not as bad as I thought it was. Like I'm kind of drawn to this deck now. So I got it. I have it. This is still definitely like my favorite card out of the entire deck. Always will be. I'm tempted to purchase the new edition though when it comes out. I have trimmed this edition, by the way. It's slightly smaller because it is like it's a thick deck and it's oversized. These are not standard tarot size cards. They're bigger. I've trimmed them slightly. They're still big. It's just not a very flexible deck, but he has changed the cardstock on the new edition. They're also going to be borderless, and I think the borderless actually really suits it. I mean, I like the borders on it too, but it's like one of those where I didn't back the Kickstarter. I was very tempted to, but I was like, you have a copy of the deck. But again, it's one of those things where for me, the tactile experience is so important that, you know, I always do wonder if having just on a better cardstock would make me actually use the deck more. And that's always my goal, is to actually work with the decks that I have. That's one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this YouTube channel, was to reacquaint myself with the decks that I have in my collection, because I have a decent amount that I don't use very often, like once in a blue moon, and this is kind of one of them. So yeah, so that is my deck, one of the decks with my favorite card ever. That's that star card. And the other deck, and specifically the other card, is, so I had to think about this. I typically, if you ask me what my favorite card in the tarot is, I'm usually probably going to say like the Hermit, or maybe something from the Pentacles suit. I really actually enjoy the Seven of Pentacles, but I've been really having a moment with the Sword suit lately, which it's just funny because when I first got into tarot, but you know, 4 years ago at this point, I was like all about the Cup suit. Like that was where it was at. Like that was like my favorite suit. I'm like, oh yeah, emotions, absolutely, water. And now, if you ask me, I have completely done a 180. I'm like, give me the Pentacles and give me the Sword suit, which is, to me, is just bizarre. But that is what it is. And so I was thinking about it. I'm like, what is like my favorite, what would I consider one of my favorite cards? And it's actually the Three of Swords. I'm like, what? Like the stupid Three of Swords, like the heart with the three swords piercing it. And no, that is not my favorite depiction of the Three of Swords. I hate that depiction. Hate's a strong word. I don't hate it. But, you know, now that I feel like I have my own understanding of what the Three of Swords really is to me, I don't hate that depiction as much. It doesn't really matter as much to me. But I will say, when I see something different, and this one just hits it for me. So this is the Scarab and Dahlia, and it's the Three of Swords. And I was looking and I was like, yes, it does it for me. This is like, it's just so good. Because for me, the Three of Swords is like mind over heart. It's making the hard decision, and it might not necessarily be the right decision, but you're letting your mind make the decision rather than following what your heart wants to do. So to me, I mean, I look at this and I think, you know, obviously this particular makes me think of like romantic relationship, right? Which, you know, links back to like the whole heart and whatever, like the emotions. But it's deciding that there's going to be a separation here between this couple. But like, she is torn up about it, man. Like, she didn't want this. Her heart doesn't want it, but she knows in her mind, her brain knows that this is the best decision to make, right? It's like right person, wrong time. And yeah. And like I said, this can also be reversed. So your brain might make the decision and your heart doesn't agree with that decision, and it might be the wrong decision, right? Doesn't mean that your brain is actually making the right decision for you. You might regret that decision, but the brain is the one who has made the decision over what the heart wants. And that for me is what sums up the Three of Swords. And that's why I love this depiction of it. This depiction is also very reminiscent to the Anna Kay Tarot, which is actually the tarot, that particular card in that particular deck was, I think, what really made me realize what the Three of Swords was about. So yeah, that I would say is my favorite card, the Three of Swords, as strange as that might be. So there you are. We are at the end of this. Yep, we're like an hour in. So there you go. thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you to Angel for making this prompt, or the tarot tag. And yeah, go check out her channel. I believe she's got maybe a playlist going, or she's been sharing a bunch of the other people's tags, VRs to this. So go and watch some of those. Like I said, I will try to remember to link her original video. Go and watch it. She is lovely. I love listening to her voice. It's very soothing. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, week, month, wherever you're at. Bye, guys.